Bhavatu Sahanam Bhunantu Sahadevam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadidhamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, you need a study guide?
I think I just
Okay. Alright. Okay, so let's try to make a short review of what we have been doing so far. We're studying Srimad Bhagavad-gita according to a study guide or outline of a study guide made by Srila Prabhupada. It's called Bhagavad-gita analysis. And Srila Prabhupada divided this study of Gita in 3 parts: Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayodhana. So we are studying now the first part, Sambandha part. And this first part is called the living entities are eternal and subordinate to Godhead. No, that's the first Adhikarana. So the first part is called man's eternal relation with Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada wrote lessons, different lessons. And the first part has 46 of those. And we have tried to divide them in different groups according to what we saw as the main idea, Srila Prabhupada. And so that's how we came up with 6 main topics inside this first Sambandha topic. And we call this Adhikaranas. So try to go shortly through them. Because now today we'll start the last one, number 6. So let's see what were the first 5 about. So the first one explains that all living entities are, first of all, that there is a soul, and the soul is different from the body. It's spiritual, eternal, and it is also dependent and subordinate to Krishna. And the second Adhikarana explains that material nature is also subordinate to Krishna. Then the third one explains that the living entities, although they are spiritual and they are superior to dull matter, still because they have a tendency to enjoy this material nature, they are conditioned by it. Because they have this desire. So in a sense, it's illogical. The superior energy is conditioned by the inferior energy, but this is the arrangement of Krishna in order to facilitate the stubborn desire of the living entity to be independent controller and enjoyer. And then the fourth Adhikarana explains how the living entities can become liberated by the mercy of Krishna, who personally comes or who sends his representative. In this way, he reclaims these forgetful living entities. Then the Adhikarana we dealt with yesterday answers the doubt, okay, but how is this actually possible for an ordinary person? Because Krishna comes to reclaim somebody very rare, and his pure devotees are also very rare. So how is it possible for ordinary men to be liberated? And Adhikarana answers, the confidential servants of Krishna explain that any man can attain to transcendental world service by his own occupation. So through his own occupation, it is possible. And then yesterday we spoke about who are those, what are those occupations. There are different positions according to Varnashram. And through each and every one of them, it is possible to attain Krishna. And then today, we start with Adhikarana 6. So there, doubt arises. Doubt is. This is page 75. Huh? Here, doubt may arise. Is it possible to attain the transcendental Lord Sri Krishna by performing material activities? Because these are material activities, our duties, according to Varnashram. Are they? Yes?
If they connect with Krishna, spiritual.
They become spiritual. Okay. But here the doubt is, they're material. So how is it possible to attain spiritual by material? There is this very interesting verse from Bhagavatam. Aisha buddhimatam buddhi manishacham manishinam yat satyam anriteneha martyam apnoti mamritam. Krishna tells Uddhava, this is actually the most clever of all clever things, and the most intelligent of all intelligence, of all intelligent things, persons. What is it? Is the process of bhakti, because by using this process, we are trading what is temporary, our material bodies. They are temporary, they are Sharira full of ignorance, and the senses are network of roads that lead to death, all these nice things about the body. So we are trading this impermanent thing, Krishna says, Yat Satyam Andriteneha Martyana Pranatamamutam. We are trading, we are exchanging this impermanent material body, and we attain in exchange, Krishna says, me. And I am, Krishna is the source of all bliss, and He is the substance, source of all real, He is the reality personified, supreme reality personified. And then the Acharyas explain that this is the most important of all instructions of Krishna. And whoever knows this verse and whoever has this verse shining in his heart will shine in the assembly of devotees. So in one sense, this is what happens. We are training our material body, occupation, and we are attaining Krishna. But how is it possible, practically? So this is the doubt, and then the reasons for the doubt. Bhagavad-gītā, 1866, the Lord says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me, I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11:14-20, the Lord says, my dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees brings me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by those engaged in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerity, or renunciation. So how are these verses reason for the doubt? The doubt is, how is it possible to attain spiritual by material? And how are these verses supporting this doubt?
It says it can't be
What?
Can't be controlled by these things.
Yeah. Okay.
But if we abandon all of them and just run around to Krishna, then that's all we need to do.
Okay. So this is how it supports the doubt. This is the Purva Paksha. Or Purva Pakshi brings these reasons for this doubt. And then Adhikarana 6 answers. This is possible because Godhead is both, Prabhupada put it impersonal and personal. I added immanent or immanent.
It's still pronounced immanent, but it's not immanent.
Immanent and transcendental person. Krishna is not radically divorced or separated from his creation. He is enjoying Goloka Vrindavana with his own people there, or his own devotees. This is his own scene. But at the same time, he's also all-pervading. So, in a sense, he's reaching out to us through the coverings of the material universe. And he's reaching out to this planet, Earth, and he's ready to pull us up. But we also have to have strong desire. And, we have to follow his instructions. So, in this sense, he's transcendental, but also he's all-pervading, and through his all-pervading teacher, through the instructions of the Shastra, he's teaching us how we can transform our seemingly mundane existence into spirituality. Okay, is this clear? And he's reaching down usually to the level of Dharma. Therefore, Varnashrama Dharma is so important. Usually from there, he's picking up all these conditions of all of us. If we can be established in pure devotional service, even better. So this is the answer to the question of the doubt. How is it possible? It is possible because how it is possible through something seemingly material to attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead through spiritual. It is possible because by following Krishna's instructions, our material activities become spiritualized, and because Krishna is all pervading everywhere, so he can see, he can accept our good intentions, our devotion everywhere. But just make sure we have to climb up to the level of Dharma. Therefore, Krishna in Bhagavad-gītā, he says, Yada yadahi dharmasya advane bhavati bharata. Advita nama dharmasya tadatmam samjami. Whenever there is a decline of Dharma, then there I feel. Okay? So this is lesson 38, the first one. Godhead is both impersonal and personal. So Srila Prabhupada referred to verses from 13th chapter. 13:13. I shall now explain the noble, knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to be, lies beyond the cause and effect of the world. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. So this is how Krishna is everywhere, and this is how it is possible for us to connect to him in any position, from any position in our life. And there, in the purport, Hare Krishna. It is stated, as the sun exists, diffusing its unlimited rays, so does the super soul, or Supreme Personality of Godhead. He exists in his all-pervading form, and in him exist all the individual living entities, beginning from the first great teacher, Brahma, down to the small ants. There are unlimited heads, legs, hands, and eyes, and unlimited living entities. All are existing in and on the super soul. Therefore, the super soul is all pervading. In Bhagavad-gītā, the Lord says that if anyone offers him a flower or fruit or a little water, he accepts it. If the Lord is a far distance away, how can he accept things? This is the omnipotence of the Lord. Even though he is situated in his own abode, far, far away from earth, he can extend his hand to accept what anyone offers. That is his potency. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Goloka eva nivasatya jivatma bhuta. Although he is always engaged in pastimes, in his transcendental planet, he is all pervading. Okay. And then the next verse referred to by Srila Prabhupada explains that the super soul is the original source of all senses. He is unattached total, he is maintainer of everyone. Then there are questions. What is meant when it is said that the super soul has no senses? Why do we say that he has no senses?
No material senses.
No material senses. Okay. And then his nirguna means that he doesn't have material qualities. So till the end of this lesson, there are different descriptions from Bhagavad-gītā how the Supreme Truth, how Krishna is all pervading. He exists outside and inside of all living beings. He is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near. So, although he appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. So, although Paramatma seems to be divided in the heart of everyone, or in the atoms, he is still undivided. He still who he is. There you go. Very enthusiastic. All right, lesson 39. Okay, so Krishna is all pervading. Then the next lesson explains that he's all pervading, he's everywhere, still he's a person, and we should focus on worshipping him. We should not worship somebody else. Demigods. Ordinary men without knowledge of the Supreme Godhead, Shri Krishna, worship many others who are but materially empowered beings in order to achieve quick success in their aspirations. So we already went through most of those verses. They're about the demigod worshippers. Many in this world desire success in fruitful activities and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitful work in this world. So why do people worship demigods? Because they are less intelligent.
They want temporary opulence.
Yeah, and quick also, because Krishna is a little bit careful what he gives to his devotees. Not little, he's very careful. And the demigods, they don't mind. Then it's more a question of prestige. Somebody approached me, he wants such and such boon, it's my duty. They give freely to their worshippers. But Krishna doesn't give so freely, because he is always considering what is the ultimate interest of the worshipper, of his devotee. And if he says that he wants something that is not good for him, he probably won't give it to him. Unless Krishna is also concerned that if he doesn't give something in case this devotee will lose faith, then he might give something. But generally, he doesn't give harmful results. Okay, so these verses all explain the defects and the wrong understanding of the demigod worshippers. They attain only temporary results. And what else? Krishna also explains that actually he gives the results. The demigods are just empowered agents, but the source of everything is Krishna. So actually he gives the benedictions. Krishna says, but in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Krishna says, those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith, this is page 79, 9, 23, 24. Those who are devotees of other gods, these are the small g gods, other gods. Yepi anya devata, bhakti-yoga. Bhajan shadadam viteha. Tepi mam eva kaunteya, Krishna says. Bhajan tevi purukam. Those who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. We spoke about this one of the previous times, that Krishna here says that they're worshiping me. I am the goal, the real goal of their worship, although they don't know. And this is important because we have many other people who say that, no, actually, if you don't worship according to my paddati, according to our rules, then you worship somebody else. You worshiping the enemy of God. Krishna here is very liberal. He says, no, they still worshiping me. Because I am the origin of everything. These demigods they're worshipping are also my creation, so they actually worship me. Of course, they do it improperly. Okay, then lesson 40. And then the result of it. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me. Then lesson 40. The presence of Godhead is perceived impersonally in the material world, but he is manifested in person in the spiritual world. So Krishna is all pervading, but he's also beyond this material world. He's not just all pervading. In other words, we're not pantheists. So these are the two extremes. Pantheism, or different types of impersonalism. That means the universe is God. And then the other extreme is deism. It means, no, God is separated from the universe. He doesn't in any way exist as a part of the universe, because the universe is material. It's imperfect. There is birth, death, old age exists here. So God is transcendent. He must be completely free from this, so he doesn't come to the universe, never. Why? Because in this way, these people try to save the transcendental nature of Krishna, of God. Okay, the presence of God. Okay, so 724. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. Sometimes I'm wondering how the impersonalists will comment on this verse. Because it seems that it says directly that they're wrong. Then 725. I'm never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I'm covered by my internal potency. Therefore, they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Or Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows. Then there is question, why is Krishna's form not material? Here the question of personality and impersonality is clearly stated. If Krishna, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, were Maya, material, as the impersonalists consider him to be, then, like the living entity, he will change his body and forget everything about his past life. Anyone with a material body cannot remember his past life, nor can he foretell his future life, nor can he predict the outcome of his present life. Therefore, he cannot know what is happening in past, present, and future. Unless one is liberated from material contamination, he cannot know past, present, and future. So this is a proof why Krishna is, his form is transcendental. Okay, so then next lesson. This is lesson 40. The presence of God is perceived impersonally in the material world. How is the presence of God perceived impersonally in the material world? How exactly this happens? Some examples.
Similarly,
Through his energy. Yes.
through his words in the Śāstra.
Through Shastra. Yeah. because Vedas are the breathing of the Lord. So in a sense, it is impersonal. Although Shastra describes also him as a person. But yes, it is. Shastra described as the string, the ropes. Shastra, one of the meanings is all these ropes that are binding us. There are instructions, injunctions. You have to do like this, and you should not do like this. So they are all pervading everywhere. The whole universe acts according to these rules. So in this sense, it's impersonal.
About the list when Krishna says that of the stars and the
Yeah. This is, we'll deal with this little later. These are the vibhutis of the Lord, the opulence. So they're also impersonal manifestation of Krishna. But at the same time, also he is manifested personally in the spiritual world. This is the point. Okay, then. Lesson 41. In the material world, the Lord is present impersonally, as described in Bhagavad-gītā. Now we come to your point. All these vibhutis are quoted here. 10:19. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those who are prominent, Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless." Now we have here long quotes. I am the super soul, Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Of the Dityas I am Vishnu, of lights I am the radiant sun, of the Maruts I am Marichi, etc., etc., etc. So this is how Krishna is all pervading to his opulence. And then Krishna says, "But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge?" So what is the need of all this detailed knowledge? Actually, this is like a rhetoric question, but when we try to think, well, what is the need of all this detailed knowledge? Why Krishna spoke in such a detail, in such details?
So that we can perceive him in things that we already have access to.
Yes, so that we're not left out in the cold. No matter where we're situated, what is our interest in this field of activity, still Krishna is reaching out and he's saying, I'm this, what you're interested in, actually. Behind, I'm the source of it. Therefore, it's so broad. I'm Gayatri, of months I'm Margashirsha, November, December. It's coming up now, right? November, December. Soon Margashirsha will commence. So this is the mercy of the Lord. And then Sanjaya said, continue here. Description of the universal form. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, Adityas, the Vasus, the Savyas, the Vishvadevas, the Ashwini Kumars, the Maruts, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas. And then Krishna says, 9:4, by me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Who wants to read the purport? Lord Shri Krishna's name, fame, pastimes.
Lord Shri Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, etc. cannot be understood by natural senses. Only to one who is engaged in pure devotional service under proper guidance is he revealed. In the Brahma Samhita 538, it is stated, Primanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadaiva Hridayesha Vilokayanti. One can see the Supreme Personality of God at Govinda always within himself and outside himself if one has developed the transcendental loving attitude towards him. Thus, for people in general, he is not visible. Here it is said that although he is all-pervading, everywhere present, he is not conceivable by the material senses. This is indicated here by the word Avyaktamurtina, but actually, although we cannot see him, everything is resting in him. As we have discussed in 7th chapter, the entire material cosmic manifestation is only a combination of his two different energies, the superior spiritual energy and the inferior material energy. Just as the sunshine is spread all over the universe, the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy. Yet one should not conclude that because he is spread all over, he has lost his personal existence. To refute such an argument, the Lord says, I am everywhere, and everything is in me, but still I am aloof.
Yes. Our material experience is that if we want to be on top of things, we have to be personally present. In this way, you control something. Like if you want to build a house here in Mayapur, you gotta be around here, because otherwise they'll cheat you. Probably. Big chance. But Krishna is not like that. He can be in his place, enjoying, having fun, and at the same time he's so pervading. So we think it's either this or that. Krishna combines both. And this is his yoga maishwaryam. And then 9.6, Krishna says, understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere, rests always in the sky. All created beings rest in him. So this is, Krishna is giving us an analogy to help us to understand. How is this possible? For the ordinary person, it is almost inconceivable how the huge material creation is resting in him. But the Lord is giving an example which may help us to understand. The sky may be the biggest manifestation he can conceive. And in the sky, the wind or air is the biggest manifestation in the cosmic world. The movement of the air influences the movements of everything. But although the wind is great, it is still situated within the sky. The wind is not beyond the sky. Similarly, all the wonderful cosmic manifestations are existing by the supreme will of God. And all of them are subordinate to that supreme will. As we generally say, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus everything is moving under his will. By his will, everything is being created, everything is being maintained, and everything is being annihilated. Still, he is aloof from everything, as the sky is aloof from the activities of the wind. So everything is, the wind is in the sky, and the sky sets the boundaries, but still the wind does its own thing. And it's still under the control of the sky. Yoga Maishwara. Okay, so this is all these lessons Prabhupada wrote. They're here to explain how Krishna is all pervading. Because he's all pervading, we can always remember him. Because he's everything. He's everything. At the same time, he is beyond everything. Okay, lesson 42. In the spiritual world, he is personally present, first as Paramatma, then as Bhagavan in the transcendental worlds. So here we're talking how he is, in the previous lesson 41, how Krishna is all pervading, and now in the material world, in his impersonal feature. And now in the spiritual world, he is personally present, first as Paramatma and then as Bhagavan. And Srila Prabhupada refers to 15, 16 to 19. So maybe someone can read and just read one else the next one.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul. the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Text 18. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as the Supreme Person. Purport. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear here that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think of the Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority between their personalities. The word uttama is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 19. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Parvati. Purport. There are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entities and the supreme absolute truth. Now, in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the absolute truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Throughout the whole of Bhagavad-gītā, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still, there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad-gītā who consider the supreme absolute truth and the living entities to be one and the same. We're at the bottom of page 90. Okay, thanks. Yeah.
So this is the summary of Vedanta Sutra, the Vedanta philosophy, these verses. They're called Trishloka Gita. And here Krishna summarizes the whole Upanishadic wisdom. And he explains again, Chitta Chittishvara. The living entity, the Supreme Lord, and the material nature. Okay, so this was the super soul aspect. And then 8:20, yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, this part remains as it is. That which the Vedantis describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as a supreme destination, that place from which, having attained, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. The supreme abode of the personality of Godhead Krishna is described in the Brahma Samhita as Chintamani Dham, a place where all desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as the Loka Vrindavan, is full of palaces made of touchstone. There are also trees called desire trees that supply any type of eatable upon demand. There are cows known as Suradi cows, which supply a limitless supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds of thousands of goddesses of fortune, Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda, the primal Lord and the cause of all causes. The Lord is accustomed to blow his flute, Venum Fanantam. His transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like lotus petals, and the color of his body is like the color of clouds. He is so attractive that his beauty excels that of thousands of cupids. He wears saffron cloth, not yellow, a garland around his neck and a peacock feather in his hair. In the Bhagavad-gītā, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of his personal abode in Loka Vrindavan, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in the Brahma Samhita. So we're going to study Brahma Samhita soon. We will read this. Vedic literatures, Katha Upanishad, state that there is nothing superior to the abode of the Supreme Godhead, and that abode is the ultimate destination. Purushan naparam kinchit sa kashta paramagati. When one attains it, he never returns to the material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality. On this earth, Vrindavana, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a replica of that supreme Goloka Vrindavana, located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended on this earth, he sported on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavan, comprising about 84 square miles in the district of Mathura, India. So we are also in Vrindavan. No difference. 822. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading, and everything is situated within him. Okay, so this was this. The message of this lesson is, again, Krishna is all pervading, but at the same time he is personal. And he is Paramatma, this is expansion of Krishna, and he is also the Bhagavan. And here the description of in the purple, Prabhupada gave description of the spiritual world. Lesson 43. In the spiritual world, the Absolute Personality extends himself as many personalities. So he's not just one, many, and expansions. Then next lesson, 44. Only the self-realized souls can see the Absolute Personality of Godhead when he descends by his internal potency. 9:13. O son of Prita, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. I think we skipped one page. We just skip through the whole lesson. I mean, yeah. 43. In the spiritual world, the Absolute Personality extends himself as many personalities. So we assume we have read this. And then we go to the next one. Lesson 44. Yeah, there was something you want to do. So who are those people who can understand Krishna? Here, Sri Prabhupada gives a reference. Different verses from Gita which explain, they describe these people. These are the people who, when Krishna descends, they can actually understand that this is the Supreme Lord. So the first 9:13, then 9:14, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So who can really appreciate the personal feature of the Lord Bhagavan. Then 10:3, he who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the Supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only undiluted among men, is free from all sins. As stated in 7th chapter, Prabhupada writes, Manushanam sakasishu kaschitya tadisidaye, those who are trying to elevate themselves to a platform of spiritual realization are not ordinary men. They are superior to millions and millions of ordinary men who have no knowledge of spiritual realization. But out of those actually trying to understand their spiritual situation, one who can come to the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the proprietor of everything, the unborn, is the most successful spiritually realized person. In that stage only, when one has fully understood Krishna's supreme position, can one be free completely from all sinful reactions. So here Krishna gives symptoms of the pure devotees. He says what are their characteristics. Next verse also. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining light of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So let's read the purport to 10:10. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master. Who wants to read?
A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that the person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain.
So even if a devotee is not very learned in the sense that he hasn't studied thoroughly all Srila Prabhupada's books or the books of the acharyas, if he is sincere and he renders all kinds of services with love, Krishna will give him intelligence. So it's not a matter of how sharp you are, how erudite, how scholarly. It is how sincere we are and how we are engaged in devotional service. There was time before I was a devotee, and even when I became devotee, aspiring devotee, I also had for quite some time actually this misunderstanding that it's all about how much you like to read books. Knowledge somehow comes through books. And it comes from books, from Shastra. It comes through by listening. But also we have to see how Krishna defines knowledge in Bhagavad-gītā, for example. Krishna defines knowledge as virtues, as good qualities. Also, common knowledge in Bhagavad-gītā, liberation or transcendental realization comes not so much from study. This is not what Krishna explains in Gita, but from detached work, from Naishkarmya. Naishkarmya produces knowledge in the heart. Knowledge meaning good qualities and proper understanding, ability to discriminate between spirit and matter. It comes from detached work, not just from reading books. Books help, but if you don't read books, if you're not this type of person who likes to study, still, tesham nitya viyoktanam, Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mamu Payam. Krishna will enlighten this person with personal knowledge. This is the next verse, 10:11. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Okay? And then I think this is the last lesson of this Adhikarana. So what's happening here? Krishna explains, Srila Prabhupada, he explains, using Krishna's explanations, that the Supreme Lord is all pervading and he is also staying in his own abode. And who can appreciate him as Bhagavan? So, these persons here, their qualities, their symptoms are described in this lesson. Only the self-realized souls can see absolute personality of Godhead when he descends in his internal, by his internal potency. So who can take advantage? Okay, we are talking about Krishna being in Golok Vrindavan, coming here in his internal, through his internal potency. Him being all pervading also. Who can appreciate him in this forms that he's existing internally? So this is the answer. And then the next lesson, 45, explains another feature, another method Krishna is employing so that he can reach out. The Archamurti is a transcendental and identical representation of the absolute personality of Godhead for the benefit of those conditioned souls who want to approach Godhead. So you see the logic? Krishna is all pervading through his potency, his devotees, through the Vedas, through the principles upon which all this creation is built. He's all pervading through his features Paramatma, and he's also all pervading through Archavigraha. And this is a very special manifestation because it is Bhagavan, but it's also, in a sense, all pervading because these motives are everywhere. In the Nectar of Devotion, it is described that different forms of Krishna are worshipped everywhere, the whole world is under the protection of these different incarnations. Okay, so somebody wants to read this to line 26. Okay. Oh, it's not the last lesson. There's another lesson. Okay. Repeat it.
926. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. In the third chapter, verse 13, Sri Krishna explains that only the remains of sacrifice are purified and fit for consumption by those who are seeking advancement in life and release from the clutches of the material entanglement. Those who do not make an offering of their food, he says in the same verse, are eating only sin. In other words, their every mouthful is simply deepening their involvement in the complexities of material nature. But preparing nice, simple vegetable dishes, offering them before the picture or deity of Lord Krishna, and bowing down and praying for him to accept such a humble offering, enables one to advance steadily in life, to purify the body, and to create fine brain tissues which will lead to clear thinking. Above all, the offering should be made with an attitude of love. Krishna has no need of food since he already possesses everything that be, yet he will accept the offering of one who desires to please him in that way. The important element in preparation, in serving, and in offering is to act with love for Krishna. The impersonalist philosophers who wish to maintain that absolute truth is without senses cannot comprehend this verse of Bhagavad-gita. To them it is either a metaphor or a proof of the mundane character of Krishna, the speaker of the Bhagavad-gita. But in actuality, Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, has senses, and it is stated that his senses are interchangeable. In other words, one sense can perform the function of any other. This is what it means to say that Krishna is absolute. Lacking senses, he could hardly be considered full in all senses. In the 7th chapter, Krishna has explained that he impregnates the living entities into material nature. This is done by his looking upon material nature. And so in this instance, Krishna's hearing the devotee's words of love and offering foodstuffs is wholly identical with his eating and actually tasting. This point should be emphasized. Because of his absolute position, his hearing is wholly identical with his eating and tasting. Only the devotee who accepts Krishna as he is, as he describes himself, without interpretation, can understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth can eat food and enjoy it.
Yes, thank you. So Srila Prabhupada gives an example. Krishna says, Asnami pratatmanaha. I verily eat whatever is offered by my devotee with love and devotion. And then some Mayavadi says, God cannot eat. So to whom shall I believe? To Krishna, who says, I eat, or to the Mayavadi, who says, no, you cannot eat.
Mayavadi, he makes more sense.
Right. How exactly?
Well, because we eat, we're material. And we know the material is temporary. So eating must also be temporary. So if he's eternal, then he shouldn't eat.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have a form because form is miserable.
Yeah, these are people who are so frustrated and so envious. They don't want to acknowledge that there is supreme enjoyer different from them. They would rather have no enjoyers at all. Okay, I cannot be an enjoyer.
Well, then neither can you.
Nobody can. Imagine how these people born with envy when they see pictures of Krishna enjoying the rasa. And it must be no, this must be illusion. No, cannot be. I tried, I couldn't do it. So nobody can.
This is the sour grapes. Yeah, when you're denied of something, and then you say, "Oh, it must be sour anyway."
Yeah, like I think you're giving the example. This some friends are meeting, and then somebody says, "So our friend such and such, she became high court judge."
Became a what?
High court
judge.
And the other guy says, "No. This guy, not possible. No, I saw him in the newspaper. He was there." Oh, then it must be that he doesn't get salary. He's just so angry, so much envy. Therefore, one of the first creations of Brahma is this anger, the anger that we not God. Okay, so then 12.5. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. The group of transcendentalists who follow the path of the inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called Jnana Yogis, and persons who are in the full Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service of the Lord are called bhakti-yogas. Now there is difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Oh, now here is the difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. It's definitely expressed. The process of Jnana Yoga, although ultimately bringing one to the same goal, fidelity, is very troublesome. Whereas the path of Bhakti Yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easier and it's natural for the embodied soul. So why it's easier and natural? Because we just perform all the activities that usually people like to perform. We eat tasty food, we singing, dancing, discussing interesting topics about philosophy with nice people. And all this is real. It is actually the real, substantial, vastu reality, because it is spiritual. In the Mayavadis, when they do these things, to them it's always illusion. Kadama Maharaj was telling a story how he went somewhere up in the Himalaya and then he saw some Buddhists and he tried to talk to one of them. And the guy just completely ignored him. He didn't reply. And Maharaj was wondering why he's not acknowledging that I exist. Then it dawned on him. Oh, it is exactly because of this. He thinks that I don't exist. This guy thinks that I don't exist. Therefore, he doesn't need to reciprocate because I don't exist. Everything is shunyata, is void. And then what Maharaj came to language. Yeah, you don't exist. Similar to the materialistic people, when you approach them, trying to distribute books and they pretend that you don't exist. So it's very painful existence that when you think you don't exist. It's painful. When you think you actually don't exist as an individual person, then nothing matters anymore. Your relationship with this person now doesn't matter because he doesn't exist, you don't exist. It's all empty, it's all void. These people are having here it is stated, it's always very difficult for those who are embodied. The individual soul is embodied since time immemorial. It is very difficult for him to simply theoretically understand that he is not the body. Therefore, the bhakti-yogi accepts the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind which can be disapplied. Of course, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form within the temple is not idol worship. There is evidence in the Vedic literature that worship may be saguna or nirguna, of the Supreme possessing or not possessing attributes. Worship of the deity in the temple is saguna worship, for the Lord is represented by material qualities. But the form of the Lord, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, or oil paint, is not actually material. That is the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. Okay, then the last one, lesson 46. Matter is not therefore the ultimate cause of the universe. The ultimate creator is the powerful, while the material world is the power only. So there are a few verses quoted here. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, Son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Then fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as Supreme Lord of all being. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. In their deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. People jeer at Krishna because they are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their destiny is certainly to take birth after birth in the species of atheistic and demoniac life. Perpetually, their real knowledge will remain under delusion, and gradually they will regress to the darkest region of creation. Okay, so now let us make a summary of the whole first part, the first Sambandha part of the study guide, for what we have done so far. For how long? 2 weeks? We summarize now in a short paragraph. The highest reality is the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The living entities are his parts and parcels, identical in quality with him, and eternally subordinate to him. This is Adhikarana 1. The material energy works under his supervision, Adhikarana 2. The living entities have a tendency to enjoy separated from the Lord, and this is the cause of their suffering in the material world. Once conditioned by matter, they cannot free themselves by their own endeavor, Adhikaras 3 and 4. Only the Lord or his representative can restore them in their original position of transcendental mistakes. The living entities can attain to this position by performing their duties in connection to the Lord. So this is 5. This is possible because the Lord is all pervading through his potencies. This is Adhikarana 6. Okay, Hare Krishna. So Monday onwards we'll continue the Abhidheya part. Hopefully, however,
You have to send
print
him,
out.
you have to send him the edited file, and he will try to get it printed by Monday. We have to send him the newly edited version.
Okay. All right. So, unless there is some question, very daunting question, or somebody wants to add something, we'll disperse for now. Yes.
Just wanted to share something.
Yes.
Here in my pool, Chayadeva Swami once gave a class, and he mentioned something which I had never heard before. Is that like Lord's senses are interchangeable. So he mentioned that also every living entities in their spiritual form, their senses are also interchangeable.
Good news.
Yeah,
Something to look forward to.
but that's in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
So I was wondering because I had never heard anything like this before. But it makes sense since we are qualitated with the same as the Lord. And he explained, I was asking for some Shāstra reference, so he was saying that it's something is mentioned there in the Bhagavad-gītā.
Yeah, I was thinking about Bhagavad-gītā. It must be somewhere there. But I also can't remember exactly the reference.
That's also just how the spiritual body works. So the material one, you can only taste with your tongue. But all that we leave behind. So the spiritual form is such a number. And so things are done a bit differently there. Everything's also conscious.
Whatever that means. Would you like to elaborate more on this?
Talk with the trees.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk to your everything. Whether or not, but everything's conscious. So even the food that's being fed to Krishna is conscious. It wants to be eaten by Krishna, but it's not the same as material food. Once you eat the material food, it's eaten, right? But no, it's eternally rice, for example. So it looks forward to being prepared in a different way by the different devotees and eaten by Krishna.
Like my Guru once said, when he heard that I was living in a temple still, distributing prasadam, sweet balls, and he was mentioning in class that in the spiritual world, these sweet balls, they would say, try to distribute us.
They'll go, in fact, themselves to distribute themselves.
Yeah, the trees would sometimes, they see Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys coming, and they would actually bend down so that their fruits would be lower for them. Of course, they could also climb. They like doing things like that. They see the Supreme Lord coming and they're bowing down, offering obeisances, but also offering their fruits. So everything there is.
One time in my esoteric class, I heard this statement that truth is actually more wonderful than fairy tale.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I heard that the expectations of the pure devotees will be fulfilled in such a manner that they would have never expected such things. They will be way above what they ever expected. There will be much more happiness and bliss.
And it'll be natural. None of it will bewilder us. Like now, if our rice started, jumping out of the pot onto our plate because it's eager to be eaten, we'd freak out. But there, it's actually natural. Like it's natural. So when we're there, we're in our natural state, so that's just normal.
Or imagine some of the trees learning to talk to us.
Yeah, yeah, we freak out because it's, you know, it's not in our current condition, you know, perception. But there, that's just the standard. So, what's up anymore?
Yeah, something to look forward to when we advance more. Okay. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Swami Bhakti ki jai, Jai Sai Gaur Premanandi.